How is everybody today? I'm good. At the outset, I just want to assure everybody I only look like Lenin. I don't share his political philosophy. Speaking of political philosophy, as I think a lot of you know, 2 days from now is Thomas Jefferson's birthday. And Jefferson gave us the words that are at the heart of our political philosophy, that we hold these truths to be self-evident, and that we're endowed by our Creator with certain inalienable rights, and that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And if you're anything like me, you're completely mystified as to why we have so much trouble convincing our fellow citizens that that is the right basis for a government, that liberty is the way to go, that we need smaller government where liberty can thrive. And I think part of the problem that makes this so difficult is because the left, the liberals, control all the instruments of our culture. They control Hollywood, they control the media, they control the publishing industry. Well, I decided to do something about that. I went to my town hall and I filled out a form for doing business as, and I am now the Monteferro Press, the apex of conservative and libertarian literature. And I published my first book, which I wrote. It's called Full Asylum, but since I think so many of you have heard me talk about it so many times, I'm going to tell you today about another book. This is by another author, but I'm distributing it for him. It's called Amy Lynn. I was with this author, his name is Jack July, at CPAC a year ago, and we were both selling our books, and people came up to him and they kept saying, "Oh, I bought your book yesterday," and it started reading it, and it's really good. So, you know, this is a great, so I had to buy it, and I read it, and it's a great book. It's a, like a cross between To Kill a Mockingbird and Lone Survivor. Anyway, I got a table for the Monteferro Press in the back over here, and if you do get a chance, please come by, take a look at my book, take a look at Jack's book, take a look at some of the other books that we're distributing, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mike. Okay, first a few announcements that I didn't make earlier. We are a Tea Party, we are nonpartisan. But we're still going to hold a straw poll, a presidential straw poll. And since we're nonpartisan, we're going to let you vote twice. Now, this is Massachusetts. Maybe people are already voting twice a number of times anyway, but we're actually going to have a Democrat straw poll and a Republican straw poll. And I apologize for the Libertarians, but I didn't know who the candidates were, so, you know, just, you can vote for a Democrat and a Republican. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think somebody put Jeb Bush under the Democrat straw poll, so my apologies if there's any confusion there. Also, I did want to mention, you know, we do have a couple of vendors here. We ourselves are selling t-shirts over here. This is our t-shirt from last year. On the back it says, "If you like your plan, you can keep your plan." References Barack Obama's 2013 Lie of the Year. And on the front it says, "If you like your freedom, you can keep your freedom." Oh, wait a minute, we crossed that out and said, "Must fight for your freedom," because that's truly true. Again, we do have Common Core info over there, and we do want to make sure that people are fully informed on that and are actually activating themselves on that. Okay. And again, when you're taking any of those Common Core materials, please use the clips because everything is about ready to blow away constantly. Our next speaker is going to be Andrew Hemenway. I first met him at Harvard University, of all places, at something called a Tea Party, What's Brewing for the Budget Battle and Ballot Box, that was put on the Institute of Politics for the JFK Forum. At the time, he was chairman of the Republican Liberty Caucus of New Hampshire. I later saw him when he was New Hampshire State Director for a presidential campaign, 2012. He's an entrepreneur working in the fields You have insurance, athletics, websites, including founder and CEO of Digital Acumen, a technology firm specializing in emerging communications for political uses. Actually, Brad Wyatt might be interested in that as well. Andrew ran for governor in New Hampshire in 2014, describing himself thusly. Andrew is a vocal leader of Republican ideals in New Hampshire and has spent the last years working hard to spread a message of fiscal restraint and individual freedoms. As a successful entrepreneur, Andrew knows firsthand the importance of efficiency, financial responsibility, and the need to limit unnecessary intrusion of government into the lives of individuals and businesses. That's a pretty good message. He continues on as an entrepreneur, and most recently he has become involved in the 603 Alliance and the Conservative Business League of New Hampshire. Andrew Hemenway.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here this afternoon. Being from New Hampshire, I do have some complaints about Massachusetts, though, folks. I gotta be honest. Why is it that you can't send us conservatives to move into our state? Why do we always get the liberals? We need some help, okay? And so what I thought we could do here today is broker a grand bargain. And perhaps, you know, you guys might be interested in this. So New Hampshire is willing to trade you 2 liberals for every conservative that you send us. And if you send us a conservative, we'll cut you a break, and we won't charge you a sales tax. We won't charge you an income tax for as long as you live in New Hampshire. So we're going to have Omer here signing people up, you know, that are going to be moving to New Hampshire. Yeah. On July 4th, 1776, our founding fathers planted for us a seed of liberty in signing the Declaration of Independence. And they watered that seed with their blood and the blood of their descendants. And by the blessing of Providence and our Creator, that seed blossomed and took hold and started to spring roots and started to grow. That tree, that plant that we call now lovingly America, took root and started to grow in the light of freedom and individual liberty. And it grew and it grew, and those who benefited from it, who reaped the fruit that fell off of this beautiful tree, benefited, and in fact the entire world benefited. That seed, which was planted right here in Boston, Massachusetts, has grown into an amazing, beautiful tree that has benefited every society, every country in the world. And yet, we stand here today because we see that America, that those liberties and freedoms that prospered that tree, that grew that beautiful tree into what it is today, is under attack. Because around the roots and around the branches of this beautiful tree have grown briars and insects and disease and parasites. We refer to them as politicians. And all around this beautiful tree, which has prospered all with individual liberty and freedom, we today find ourselves looking at a dead and dying tree. We see an utter collapse of individual liberty and freedom, don't we? Everywhere you look, at every level of government, there is more regulation, more taxation, more growth of our government all around us. And at a time when we suffer and whittle away individual freedom and individual liberty, it passes away. And as it happens, this beautiful tree America starts to take on different form. And folks, one of the things that I'm working on right now to try and stop that is a new organization in New Hampshire called the 603 Alliance. Now, we have some flyers which we'll pass out. And I want to tell you about what we're doing, because I believe that you could be a part of it, be a part of changing history here. All of us know the story of how these primaries and presidential candidates work, right? The big money always wins. They get to choose their players, and the special interests and the parties, they all align behind their chosen one, and we all sort of go along with this game. We wish that we had a different outcome, and year after year we end up with John McCain and Mitt Romney and on and on and on. How many of you, by a shout or by a raise of hand, believe that if we are truly to turn our country around, if we are truly to be bringing transformative change to our country, if we are to do that, how many of you believe that we should nominate for president another moderate, liberal-light candidate? How many of you think that works? No, it doesn't work, does it? We've been trying that for years, on and on, decades. The Republican Party and the establishment have been nominating liberal light candidates, and it doesn't work. We need, in 2016, a strong conservative, one who will paint in broad strokes, who can articulate the founding principles of our country, those of individual liberty, right? What we just heard, the words of Thomas Jefferson. We need a candidate that can represent that, who can articulate that, who can intelligently debate the left and the media in order to take back our country. And I believe that in our field of candidates this year, we have some really amazing, talented, articulate people who could in fact be those change agents. I see Rand supporters are here today.
Ted Cruz!
Right? Ted Cruz, I believe, is a great guy. Right? And there are a number. Ben Carson, I saw some signs for Ben Carson. I believe that there are a number. But folks, listen, here's the problem. Here's the challenge for us. There is going to be one liberal candidate standing for nomination. There will be one. It'll be Jeb Bush. Okay? The problem is that there will be 10, 12, maybe 15 conservative candidates. So who's going to lose? The conservatives are going to lose. We do this to ourselves over and over and over again. And I'm telling you, as a 32-year-old, right, we can't afford to continue down this path. So the 603 Alliance in New Hampshire is going to be holding a caucus in October to nominate one conservative candidate for president. We are going to allow the grassroots to come together, to vote, and to go through a caucus process to nominate one alternative to the liberal Jeb Bush. And hopefully, we in New Hampshire can start what will be a trend across the country, that we can come together as libertarians, as social conservatives, as fiscal conservatives. We must unite as one bloc who says, yes, we may disagree on any number of little things, but we have an alignment, one that says we must return to individual liberty. We must extract the federal government from our lives and from our states. Can we all agree on those principles? Yeah. Then we must agree on one candidate if we are to truly take back our country. And that is what the 603 Alliance is going to be doing. We are going to take that on. And I started with the example of a seed being planted. When that seed of liberty was planted in our country in 1776, the men who signed that document were jeered, were made fun of, were told, oh, that's never going to work. Those crazy guys in Boston, what do they think they're never going to, right? And look at where we are today. And many of you may say, we're never going to get conservatives to agree on one candidate, dude. Like, whatever, nice try, right? Some of you, you're going to hear that, aren't you? And you're probably thinking some of it yourself. But ladies and gentlemen, I got to tell you, I believe that we must try. We must be willing to put our country and our conservative cause ahead of our own individual benefits. We must be willing to sacrifice for the cause that is in front of us.
Yes.
And the way that we do that is by uniting together and nominating one candidate who will be an alternative to Jeb Bush. That's what we're doing in New Hampshire. We'd love for you to check out our website, 603alliance.com. We've got pink flyers being passed around. Come join us next Sunday in Nashua, just a few miles away. We're going to be having on Sunday morning a convention, a grassroots conservative convention, and we would love to see some conservatives from Massachusetts cross the border instead of the other type that you've been sending us. Again, if you want no sales tax or income tax, come sign up with us. Folks, thank you so much for today. God bless America. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you very much, Andrew. That was phenomenal. Very inspirational speaker. And we in the Greater Boston Tea Party, we as an organization have allied ourselves with them, as I believe the Northborough Tea Party of Massachusetts, just because we approve of so much of what they're doing. Again, Tea Parties don't endorse candidates, and actually that's not what the 603 Alliance is doing. They're trying to say that we need to unite behind a conservative candidate so that the liberals, rhinos, whatever you want to call them, I know a few people cringe at rhinos, but that none of those people make it in, as opposed to electing a real conservative. Again, just a reminder, we do have t-shirts for sale, and there's a vendor back there selling t-shirts. There's the Libertarian Party over there. We do have the straw poll going. And then actually after Rob comes up and speaks, we'll introduce him in just a second, we'll have Jordan Page coming up for another musical number. People want Jordan to do another musical number? Yeah! All right, okay. After Rob, we'll have Jordan Page up here for one more musical number. Okay, next up is Rob Eno. He is the owner and operator of Red Mass Group, the most visited conservative website in Massachusetts politics. He is currently the front page writer at www.conservativereview.com, providing commentary and research from a conservative perspective. He's a graduate of UMass Lowell in chemical engineering, as is Brian Henchy, and I also know Bridget Fay as a chemical engineer. We all end up working in politics, though.
That's what they're for.
He worked in that industry for several years, and then worked as account manager and marketing within the printing industry. He's also in the past was chair and vice chair of the Greater Boston Young Republicans. But if you know Rob at all, you know that he's all about cutting through all the BS in politics, and he's going to demonstrate that to us today. Rob Eno.
Thank you, Patrick. I will make this short. It's kind of interesting to come up here after Andrew spoke, mainly because what I'm going to talk about is the way to look at candidates and make sure that they're following your principles. How many of you guys went to CPAC? How many were at CPAC? Senator Mike Lee gave a speech that we at Conservative Review decided to use as the lens that we're going to look at presidential candidates from this time. Senator Lee said that you have to look for three things when you're looking at a presidential candidate. You have to look at whether they're principled, whether they're positive, and whether they're proven. And proven might be the most important part. But what he meant by principled, and it dovetails in with what Andrew was talking about. By principled, it's people that are with you and espouse conservative principles all of the time and then follow through. I mean, how many of you actually think that politicians lie to you?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That they tell you one thing during the campaign season, and then when it's the legislative season, they do something different. They do it all the time. And that's what we do at Conservative Review. If you go to conservativereview.com, we do that with legislators, with senators, and congressmen across the country, is we look at what they say during their campaigns, and then we talk about what they actually do and how they don't do their campaigns. You know, we just had a special election for state representative in the town that I'm from. And the Republican that was running had a bunch of mail that came out and said that they were for lower taxes. But this person was the driver behind 3 override questions, and one that finally went. So, you know, when you look at it, how can you say that you're for lower taxes when you ran 3 override questions? That's the type of thing for principled all of the time, that they tell you that they're going to be conservative during the campaign season, and then they actually vote conservatively when it comes time to vote. The other thing is positive. I mean, a lot of times we get up here and we say what we're against. We're against this, we're against that, we're against this. But we don't spend a lot of time saying what we're for. What we're for. And there's candidates out there that are now saying it. Ted Cruz says what he's for. Rand Paul has a whole thing of what he's for on civil liberties and civil rights. It's something positive that he's for. And you need to find a candidate that tells you not only what they're for or what they're against, but what they're for. And the last one is proven. And I'm standing up here before you today, and there's probably people in the audience that want to kill me because I supported Charlie Baker last year over Mark Fisher. But it's proven. Charlie Baker, who's not the most conservative person in the world, I saw door knocking for Liberty candidates. I saw holding fundraisers for Liberty candidates. I saw him putting the work in for people that he might not agree with all the time, but he wanted to have those people that were allies part of the time with him, and he was proven. I love Mark Fisher, but I didn't see him doing that for the 2 previous years. Oh. So that's kind of why I want him, but it's proven. It's somebody that's run before. You know, we have a lot of candidates that it's their first time running. And then when you go and you listen to them speak, you realize that they haven't won an election before because they don't know how to formulate their ideas. And we can't, you know, the first race that you run for can't be president.
Don't be booing me.
You know, you've got to have run. We have that problem in Massachusetts a lot where we have people that run for Congress and run for Senate that have never run for selectmen or have never run for state rep. So, you know, it needs to be proven. So that's basically what I wanted to come up here and tell you about. We're at Conservative Review. We're using that as a lens. We're going to have a whole product that has presidential profiles. That's what I've been working on for the past 6 months. The problem with doing that is, you know, when you sit and you look at somebody over and over again, you're going to find something not to like about everybody. But that's what we've been doing at Conservative Review, and we're going to have some pretty extensive profiles on all the presidential candidates from the Republican side because we're looking at the conservative primary. So that's what we're doing at Conservative Review, and I just wanted to come up here and you know, talk about what Mike Lee said, and that's what I think that we as conservatives need to do, is we need to look for somebody that's principled, that's positive, and that's proven. And that's basically what I wanted to say. I didn't want to take more time than I have to get you guys home. And I think we're bringing Jordan Page up now, right? Is that what we're doing? Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to have one more song from Jordan Page, and then Barbara from Harlem will be coming up in just a few minutes.
Are you guys ready to get radical for a minute?
Yeah, I don't want you making any.
Don't hold your nose, vote Ron Paul, write him in. I know, but I'm going to probably do it again.
That's a dirty word.
You can write him in.
2015.
Everything is as it was.
20 years.
Let me set this up. Paul, could you bring the low end up just a little bit on the overall mix for this song? The kick, snare type thing. This is for Kristen.
supremacy because you're having fun. Those who control all the information celebrating, lie to the people to keep us watching. And the walls come crashing down as the war at home reaches your town. You have no choice, it's safe and clean. We all submit to the war machine. Consequence be damned. Send a call for a brawl in a foreign land. They slide their advantage through the door, getting rich off the blood of the fighting poor. Well, that's your democracy, one big hypocrisy. You want me to give my life to country. They say sacrifice yourself today and don't think about getting in our way. Camouflaged in black and green, one more gear in the war machine. Consequences so severe, so pull your trigger quickly, dear. I'm patriots, I'm acting up, let's punish them with fear. Hey, hey. And the walls come crashing down as parades in spades march on your town. They count the votes, they bought the dream, paid in full by the war machine. So you see the plan, an endless war, a profit scam. The system's right, the news you read, propaganda plants your seeds in the mindless love of a generation, captivated, trained, entertained, and held in bondage. The wall come crashing in like a plague. They will blame it on our sins. The choice is posed by men unseen. Give yourself to the war machine. Can you guys handle that? Can you handle that? Just one song, we done? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, give him one more afterwards.
I don't want to cause a riot or anything.
Go for it, one more.
Coming up, let's go.
Can you bring it down just a little bit up here? Just with one notch. Anybody heard of the National Defense Authorization Act? You should have heard of that law. It was written for you. It's a military appropriations bill that allows for the indefinite detention of American citizens. This sitting president wouldn't sign it until they had that in there. Let that sink in. Well, Congress passed a resolution, stripped away our liberty. It's called indefinite detention. What else will they try to take from me? Government's above the law. All in all, we should have elected Ron Paul.
This president's above the law. Oh no, you should have elected Ron Paul. My name's Jordan Page, JordanPageMusic.com. I'll be back this summer doing a tour. I got CDs for sale. Come get them. Right over here. Thank you.